everybody, Paul here, and I kind of wanted to show you guys how I was doing the trick. Everybody does this old TV effect, and there's plenty of examples out there on how to do it, but I think a lot of them kind of miss the mark, so I'm going to show you how I would do it, and we're going to use some expressions. That's not a common thing for a lot of, especially with the amateur After Effects artists. You really don't get into expressions too much, so we're going to play with expressions, and let's see how that goes. So I'm going to pull up another screen because I'm having a hell of a time with this XSplit. It's really not as intuitive as I'd hoped it would be. So I'm going to pull this up just so I can see if anybody joins and they get into the chat. Because without that, I'm not going to see squat. But let me pull that up, and we'll go from there. Let's see what we got here. Oh, it says I'm not on the internet. Oh, I'm not on the internet. Not good. Not over here, at least. So hopefully everybody's having a good evening. It's, what is it, Wednesday. Tomorrow we've got all kinds of stuff going. So there's going to be another, while I'm doing this, there's going to be another in plain sight update tomorrow evening. We've got a photo shoot happening related to the film, and then we've got the final lighting getting in place, and so all kinds of cool things happening there. Then Saturday we're getting so close to this thing. Saturday we have a complete walk through the script with the cast. We're gonna have everybody in place, and then Sunday is going to be our last day of prep. We'll go to the house. We'll get everything ready at location, and then on Monday we begin filming. And so Monday night's live stream is actually going to be a little bit of a round table with some of the actors to go on about 30 minutes. So can't go too long Monday night because we have been filming all day, and I need to let these guys get some rest. So we will do a short round table. So definitely join Monday night and come in and watch these, talk to them, ask questions. Look at everything. I think there's somebody in the room upstairs. I have no idea what's going on in my house right now. I would love to pause this and find out. I have no idea. Someone's dragging something around. But, so, let us see what's going on. Someone's dragging something up and down the stairs, apparently. The house is haunted. Alright, let's get over there. So that's what's coming up. And, hey, there we go. There's my current stream. After Effects tricks. And one person watching. Let's see if there's any comments. Oh, hey, what's up, Chris? I haven't quite figured out the XSplit here, man. XSplit's it's the plugin to see your chat. I used the plugin, and the problem I had was for some reason it never syncs up. I can try and pull it up. Maybe I have to. Do I got to pull it up? Hey, Mod, how you doing, buddy? Nothing like drones. What's up, buddy? All right. So I'm gonna kind of jump into this and get to the brunt of it. But yeah, I'll play with that chat some more and see what else is going on. So what I have here is getting to the point of this particular project. This is footage that I shot back in March with Krista Watson. We were out in the studio and we were kind of doing some promo stuff for In Plain Sight. And as you can see, we had the camera on a dolly, and we got the light swinging back and forth. Camera's doing a subtle push in. We're doing a dolly push in. Then the light's gonna come on. She's gonna freak out. So what I wanted to do is I kind of wanted to make this feel like oh, cool. So you're using XSplit for the stream for the city. Okay, well, you know what we need to do, Christian? I need to get with you. I figured out a lot about XSplit, but this is kind of like the one piece that I'm still a little hazy on. And the problem is I go between XSplit and then I do the Google stream, because in the Google Hangout I can invite people in and we can chat and I can see, and there's a lot of back and forth. Hey, Rochelle, how you doing? Thanks for joining. But yeah, Christian, I definitely want to get with you on this XSplit, especially with the chat being invisible. It's kind of tricky because I have the screen set to After Effects, and then it's got to go over to and then I got to switch back and forth. So I usually run it on this other machine. I'll run the monitor, and I can see the chat in live, and I'll look over periodically just to see who else has popped in. But so back to our task at hand. It's been a little while since I've done any visual effects, at least for YouTube, mainly because of the work we've been doing on In Plain Sight and other projects. But I thought it would be cool to kind of like give this really old school CRT TV kind of video camera, not go with the classic. What's a Paranormal Activity kind of like? It's a oh shoot, what's the term I'm looking for here, guys? Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good over here. We're keeping busy, Rochelle. Really, there's a lot of stuff going on in relationship to these projects and these films. I got hit up by another filmmaker in LA, so there might be something going there. I got another email from him today. It's just so much stuff, and I know that James Cox is asking me to do some stuff for the I'm a Creator crowd, and I as soon as I get some of this stuff cleaned up, then I'm going to run out and we'll probably go to Shreveport. I love Shreveport. I think it's a cool, very, very cool place to film. I'll probably go to Shreveport and shoot the I Am a Creator thing if it's still available when I get to it. But I know James was asking me to do that. Yeah, so I don't want to go really with the concept of where I go with the Paranormal Activity kind of what's the night vision type camera effect. But the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and select this. We're going to pre-comp it. Well, I don't have to. I'm going to reset my composition settings because I kind of want it to be more of a TV format, and this is a little bit more of a 16:9 format. So I'm going to change my composition settings here, and I'm going to go 800 by 600, old school. Oops, backspace. All right, select OK. So we're going to go a little bit more of a square TV format, and that allows me to kind of move the position on her wherever I want it, and then it's going to allow me, I get that tie-in right there. But the key here is I want to go with this security monitor setup, and I'm going to show you how we can do this and use expressions to do it. Like I said in the intro, a lot of people don't use expressions. I love to use expressions because it speeds up. It's the difference between going like brute force in your visual effects to really allowing After Effects to do a lot of the work for you. All right, so now that we've got that, we've got to kind of go and we've got to go grayscale with it. So I'm going to apply my first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply an effect. I'm going to go down here to my color correction, and I'm just going to switch this. I like to use Colorama. I do a Colorama for a lot of things. And all you have to do is go to your output cycles, and under the user preference palette, just select ramp to grayscale. And then we've got a complete grayscale version, gray map version of this video. All right. So here, this is kind of like really film noir kind of stuff right now. It's very crisp imaging. And I had another example of this. I did this for the London School Texas intro. And what I did was I had the truck roll into scene, and it went gray. It was rolled in to match the existing footage that was already there, because I pulled several like historical shots of FDR giving a speech and some of this. So I needed to tie this in to kind of like this transition to modern day. So I had this footage of a 1936 Ford pickup truck rolling into the shot, and it kind of pulls up into the shot, and it's in this old film stock style. And so I've done this kind of before, but this is for a TV instead of kind of like rolling film stock, where you would have a lot of artifacts and things rolling into the film, which would give that effect. And also you would have which we're going to do here, you do a box blur on it to kind of degrade the film quality, add noise to degrade the film quality. And so we're going to do a lot of those things in this shot. But so moving along, all we needed to do was the colorama. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some noise to the shot. So we're going to bring over our noise right there. And I really kind of go probably about, I'd say 30, let's go 30 to start and see what it looks like. That's a little bit much. And you notice there's still color in this image. So we don't want to use color noise. So you uncheck that. We're going to bring this down. Let's go down to about, let's start at 10 and we'll see where that goes. So when that's playing, you're going to see the noise playing out in the background. That's starting to give us the desired effect. Then I'm going to apply a blur, and I use the fast box blur. And as soon as I find it, where is she at? It's in here somewhere. There it is. So, and I'm going to let this go. You can generally, most of the time, what happens on these old CRTs is you've got the gun is kind of like lighting up all these markers on the back of the TV, and it's going back and forth and back and forth, and the speed at which it goes from the top to the bottom is the hertz, how fast it can travel. Usually you can't see it, it's faster than the human eye, but then what happens is when you film it or you put a camera on it, all of a sudden it slows it down to that 24 frames per second, and then you can see the gun and you can see the lines being painted. Usually you see it in the form of a band, and so we're going to create that band effect here. Alright, so the fast blur. Now, generally, I probably wouldn't go beyond 5 on this. You really just kind of want to soften this up and make it not so crisp, because, I mean, the idea is that, let's go 7. See, it might be a little bit much, but we'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. Now, you can apply the blur before you apply the noise. And this is where you get artistic. And now see how the noise is crisp and the blur isn't. All right. So, that's a decision you're going to have to artistically make here. The noise has now been blurred along with the image because it's the blur comes after the noise. All right, so moving along, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to add a new solid. We're going to make this one black, and we're going to do a little vignette around the edges. And I'm just going to select this, and we're going to do that, grab that. And we just want to get the edges, because on an old CRT TV, that's the way that would have been. And we can just kind of like get the edges clipped out a little bit. Good. I'm going to invert that. Then I'm going to you're going to over here on the mask, just hit F for the feather, and you just kind of feather this out, and then you can actually you go to the expansion, you can roll that back, so it's just kind of like getting edge. So the idea is that there's some concave here. The next thing I would do is I would get a let's see, the wave warp, and I would bring that in to the shot. I think if you set this to I think, was it noise that I did? Noise. I'm a little rusty on this. Triangle. Then you can set the position of it. So it's like if I want it to go, let's go 0. Now we're starting to get those waves. And if we're playing it, I'll switch this to 25%. Now you're getting this effect to play out. We're getting a little bit of that distortion in the image, and just in that in itself, it looks pretty good. But that's not quite enough of what we're trying to do. The other thing I'd add is what is it? Blinds, Venetian blinds. Now I've seen other people do this with the Venetian blinds, and all you have to do is you're going to switch this back to 0, and this is going to create bars for you. You set your width down to 1, and then we can roll this back down. All right, and let's see. Let's go to about 10%. Scroll in, switch this over to full so we can see it in more detail. And then let's go to about 2. Let's see what it does. All right, you can see the lines it's creating right there. I'll give you an idea of, and I think we need to be at 90 degrees. So 90 degrees, well, there's negative, but you can see these, you can see the streaking in the lines. So if I increase, you can start to see the size of the lines. And I'll bring that down. You want to bring that down to where it's just noticeable. So I got about 6, maybe a 7. 7 might be a little bit much. Let's go back down to 5. All right, and then you can feather that in. I'd put that at about a 2, maybe 3. You don't want it to disappear. You want it to be there. You want it to be noticed. So let's go about a 7. And then here we go. This is our footage, and we're looking at our, it's just speed it up. I've reduced my quality. Let's go half. Let's see what that looks like. Now see this back and forth wave, that's not our end goal here. So I think what we do is we come down here to our wave, and right now our width is pretty high, and I want to bring this down to about, I want it to be more of a, it's more of a, you know, it's kind of like it goes in and out of focus. It's not, so you can have it do all kinds of stuff, you know, where it's like losing focus. And this is a really cool ghost effect too. If you want to do a paranormal thing with a night vision camera, and you have your actors kind of, you want it to keep it creepy. What makes things creepy when you're dealing with people is when we can't see their eyes. When you can't see their eyes, that just makes the hair on the back of people's necks stand up. So if I play this, now the cool part is it's giving us the desired effect, but there's no kind of, you know, shake interaction to the whole thing. That's where the expressions come in. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an expression called wiggle. Don't ask me. Don't know. I didn't come up with these names, but they did. So you can pretty much apply an expression to just about any individual tag or you know, option within an effect. So in this case, I've got my wave height, right, which is it's going left to right, so I can have it like kind of go in and out of focus. You know, I can have it go, look at this, we can go negative, we can go positive, and that's cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to apply wiggle to this. And so in order to do that, I'm going to come down to this effect. I'm going to expand that, and let's close this guy up because I don't care about that. And if you want to get things off of your list so you don't show up, all you got to do is, you see over here, you got this little guy right here, this little peekaboo guy, right? You see, if you click on that and he's hiding, and then you come up here and click on this icon here, then anything so if you got like a ton of null objects or a bunch of assets that you have them there, you know they're there, you got them dialed in, you got them locked down, you just don't want to see them so they don't clutter up your workspace, you can actually hide them. And then you can just come back and unhide them if you want. So I don't really need to see that black vignette anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that. Next thing, I'm going to go into my effects, come down here to my, the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to play with a little bit with the blurriness. I don't want to get too crazy, but all you have to do is hold down the Alt key, you hit the watch, and it's going to bring up this expression line. I hit a semicolon, then I go wiggle. And we're going to use wiggle a lot here, guys, so just don't. Hey, what's going on, FYC? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you showing up. So we're going to do a little subtle wiggle. Now, it goes how many times it's going to happen per second, and then the the second number is going to represent the degree of wiggle. You know, one way or above zero, below and above zero. So if I say I want it to just maybe once per second, and we'll say we'll do a shift of about, say, 15. Okay. And remember, you enter that with, and if you have any problems with that formula, it's going to flag you over here to give you an exclamation, say you can't do that. Okay. So what is that doing for us? What it's going to do is it's going to have it phase in and out of focus periodically. And you're going to get this phase. And if it's not phasing enough, you can increase the range. If you don't feel like it's doing it as frequently as you'd like it to, I can go to an extreme. I can go to 100, and then you can see a lot more. You can see a lot more where it's like struggling to keep things in and out of focus. Now, the higher this first number, the more frequently it does it, and the faster it comes back. So just remember that. So if we go, like, say I go 4 times per second, and then I hit go, see, there you go. It's as simple as that. I didn't have to manually plot out keyframes on that marker to get this wiggle to happen. It just happened for me, see? And then she's going in and out of focus. Expressions are the way to go. If you're not familiar with expressions, I'm telling you, if you're messing with After Effects, learn expressions, because that's just going to take your game to the next level. All right, so we've kind of added that blur. I think it might be a little bit much, that 100. I'm going to dial it back. We'll go back to 25. All right, that's good. All right, next thing I want to do is that phase shift that you get when things aren't going smooth. We want to mess with that. So the phase shift was over here, and it was in the warp. And what I'm going to do is I'll close the blur, and then I'll come down here. See, get rid of the fast blur, go into our warp. And the thing I'm interested in is the wave height. So once again, hold my Alt key down. I'm going to hit that clock, and that's going to drop down so I can get my expression. Once again, I'm going to wiggle. So we're going to wiggle. And this time we're going to probably do about a 4, let's say 55, and see where it gets us. Okay. And if you hit enter, it's going to go to the next line. Don't want to do that. So just click anywhere outside of that, and we'll see what it looks like now. So now it's kind of phasing and shifting. It's like the TV's having a hard time keeping in focus. That still might be a little overkill. That's okay. But the idea is that things aren't as smooth and clean as I'd like, you know, and like I said, that might be way overkill. Let's dial this back, say about, let's go to 30. And we'll dial this one back, and we'll go to twice. Because subtle is our friend. Let's see what that looks like. So you see how it's like, you're starting to get that old school vibe. It's just not really dialed in perfectly. And this is at half performance. So if I go to full, you're still going to have a lot crisper image. So you got to remember that if you're playing with this thing, and you're looking at this at a full or half or quarter, you always want to make sure you go back and check it at full, else you're probably not going to be really happy with the outcome. Let's see. FYC, FYFC, what are you up to? Let's see. Oh, we got one person watching right now. That's cool. All right, so then we go. You can see how it gets a little bit of that shake. So that's the wave. Now, the next thing that kind of happens here, and we can add some more noise if we want. We can increase the noise, and I think it'd probably be best to pull the noise past the blur, and so it's a little bit crisper. And then we're gonna probably go to about 20% noise. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. It really kind of breaks her up and makes her not stand out at all. But I mean, this is total creative indifference. You can tack this however you feel you think is going to look good for what your project says. In this case, I'm going for like old school TV, like if someone had a security monitor down there that was really out of date, and it wasn't the best thing. So here, I can even dial this back. Let's go back to 1 on that. Let's bring this up to say like 10. I want to see those lines. See, now we're getting to see those lines. So we take our noise, bring it back to 15%. It might be a little bit much. And then let's get over here where we can actually see her. Okay, so then I bring up, when I come back down here, the next step is I'm going to add the banding. And here, once again, we're going to get into another expression. But what we're going to do is add a new solid. We're going to change that solid to kind of, let's go with full white because we can adjust it. That's fine. And then we're going to adjust our opacity. We're going to bring it down to like, say about, we'll just say 10%. Okay. So then all you have to do is we're just going to create a square. And we're going to start out by moving this guy up above. We'll bring the square up here, right? We'll pull this guy all the way back here to the beginning. We'll go back to our white. Here's our mask. We drop this guy down, and here under our, actually not under the mask, we're going to move the entire thing. What's going on here? Oh, there we go. What is going on? Oh, duh, I'm stupid. All right, we're going to Alt left click on the position. And then this time what we're going to do is we're going to set a position marker right here. So we're going to set a start point. Okay. Then you want to right click on that start point and you want to go to keyframe assist and we're going to ease in. Okay. Then we're going to find our endpoint. We're going to say right here is our endpoint. We're going to set another marker and then we're going to ease out, right? Except this time we're going to take, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Grab this guy and we're going to pull him all the way down to here now. Let's see if that did that. It didn't do it. Ah, dang it. I didn't mean to do that. Am I on the right thing? You turkey. I think I grabbed the mask and not the whole thing. That's okay. We can fix that. We can set our mask position. That's fine. So in this case, we're going to go up to our mask and we'll do our mask path. Once again, Alt. That's fine. Oh, it didn't like this one. Didn't like the fact that I did that, so I can turn that off and then we're cool. So that's turned off. Here, I'm going to turn this one on. I'm going to set my starting position. And then I want to set an ending position. And then I'm going to bring this guy down here. Dang it. Just being a turd on me. Oh, why are you doing this to me? There we go. We'll do it that way. Or we'll. I had this problem earlier. Come on, turkey. Oh my gosh. What it does is it keeps switching over to the other footage so I can lock this. And then I can go back and grab my mask. Oh, this is so crazy. This thing hates me. Oh my gosh. Why are you doing this to me? This is being a butthead now. Now it's just making me angry. Oh, come on, turkey. No, now it's jumping down to here now. Oh, it's jumping over to this other one. So I'll lock that. I'm going to select this guy. Select my mask. And I'm not sure what it's doing. Alright, let's get rid of this. This is being a turkey. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Let's try this again. Wow. Something happened here. Let's see, scale. That's what happened. Goodness. See? We all make mistakes, right? Alright, so now I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna grab I'm gonna do this. It's gonna happen, guys. This is gonna happen. Alright. Now I'll expand this guy. We're gonna set our plot point. Starting point is gonna be here. Our ending point is gonna be, come on. Yay, I did it. Here. Okay. Now right click on this. You're going to go to the key assist. We're going to ease it in. This allows it to slowly transition. Key assist instead of hard turns. And here we're going to ease out. Ease out. Then we're going to go right here. Left, hold down the Alt key, left click on that button, because now we're going to put the expression in here. So, and this expression is case sensitive, so you got to remember this, because it took me a little while to figure out that it was case sensitive, because it just did not want to work. And it's called lowercase l, loop, uppercase O, out. And then if you go like this, if you just do the brackets, that's going to go with the default, and that default is going to be, what did it do? What did I do? It's giving me a hard time. Let's see, what is it going to say? Loop function loop out is undefined. Should have been lowercase and uppercase. This project contains an expression with an error. So if I say so the loop's not happening yet. So if I say quotes ping pong, right? And let's see if that defines it. No. It's giving me a hard time. Still doesn't like it. It's supposed to be lowercase loop. Oh, maybe it is that what it is? It should be defined. Hey, there's doing its thing there. No. Ping pong. Let's go to cycle. This is the default was cycle, but you can also type it in. Let's see if cycle works. No, cycle's not working. So why is loop not defined? So I'm just curious if it's I get to cheat and go back to my test case where I did this earlier. Just double check my work. Okay, yeah. Oh, so did I do it? Oh, okay. I see where I did. All right, never mind. Yeah, everybody makes mistakes, right? So this is actually not going to be defined in the mask, but it's going to be defined in the position of the object. So let's undo that. We've got the mask there, that's fine. Then we come down here to our transform and our position. And it's our position where we want to anchor this thing at. So I'm going to go ahead once again. I'm going to set my, shoot, I didn't mean to click on that. All right, here we go. So we're going to set this up at the top. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark that position. And we're going to come over here. We're going to get there, guys. Sorry. We'll set this one at that position. We're going to go ahead and we'll ease it in. And we're going to right click, ease it out. Okay. And when we go to the ease out, you go here, and I want to pull this guy. I want to pull this guy all the way down to here. Maybe just let it just barely there. All right, so then it should scroll all the way up and all the way down. And this is that banding thing we talked about. Okay, now to make this, if I don't use an expression, then I'm going to have to go through. And I'm going to do this ease in, ease out on every single, I'm going to have to hold a ton of keyframes. But because I'm using an expression, I can do that pretty easily. Come on, turkey. There we go. And all I have to do is go loop out, and that should work. Hey, it worked. So now what's happening is, watch this. So it's going to go through, and it's going to buffer because it's in full. It's going to get there. We'll go half. How about we go to a quarter? Just to speed things up. So then, and then this is the cycle. So this is by using the loop. By the default is cycle. You can type cycle in here, but more effectively, what I would like is I would like to do what they call ping pong. And ping pong is going to let us. It's basically, it's going to get down here. It's going to slow down, and then it's going to come back up. Okay. Now, the banding seems a little odd because it's such a sharp transformation. All we have to do is come up here. We're going to hit our F key. We're going to feather this guy out. And next thing you know, it's looking like it's flickering back and forth. We're getting that banding. Now, you can duplicate this, right? We can duplicate it. We can have it go in the other direction. We make it really small, and then we can increase our opacity on this one. We'll bring the opacity up a little bit, and then what we'll do with this one is we will have it move at like much faster speeds. So I'll go into my expression here, which I just hit this arrow key over here. And I can actually reduce. All I have to do is, see, that's why we're getting that hard stop. See that stop right there? Oh, that's why it was stopping. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So here, let's get rid of this guy. And then we'll bring this one down. And what we'll do is we'll put him on a cycle. All right. And so then in this case, I'm going to change this back to the default. And then I'm going to pull this way in. So he's going to move really fast. So now, you see, we can do that. And we can also go ahead and go up to our mask. And our mask position is set to, I think it's 83. That's mask feather. Mask, let's see. I can go in here and grab this guy. Oh, it's actually the entire position. So the entire thing gonna make it really narrow. There we go. So now we've got this effect going on where it's going down, up and down and up. And I think it's good to have one go in reverse. You could probably have a couple of these. And it could be that this particular one is a little bit, the opacity is a little too, so we'll bring it, say, let's take it back down to say about 15, you know. And so there you have it. I mean, we've got the banding, you've got a couple of these, and you can continue, you could duplicate this again, right? And you could actually play this in reverse, and you can make this one a little bigger. So we can make this guy a little bit bigger. You know, we could have him go this way. So you get a couple of these guys that are just a little bit, you know, it's just a little bit off. You know, we get the transform, grab the position. You can have this one match, and then you can actually set the scale up a little bit. So we can set it up, and then watch. See how it's going the other direction? And then it rolls back. That might be really slow. Let's bring this, let's speed this up a little bit. You know, you can adjust this one. Let's go 8. There you go. Still feels a little slow. Let's see what that one looks like. So there you have it. I've now, and the cool part is I can take this original piece of footage, right, which I have locked at the moment. I can take her, I can reposition her anywhere I want in this shot. So if I want to shrink it, I can do that, and I can bring it to where it's more focused on there. Look at that. You can add more blur. We can take our, we can make our amount of noise. We can say 18. And here's the cool thing is you can make your noise kind of fluctuate, be a little more dynamic. Same principles as before. And all we have to do is we drop down, and we're gonna go into where our noise is. So we'll bring our wave warp up, go down to our noise, and I really like doing this. Just makes things so much easier. And then you can do wiggle and say 3 comma, say 25. You know, I really don't know what that's going to do to it. You gotta. There you go. So then you're starting to get, you know, like the bands and noise along with it. It might be that might be a little bit much. So we could probably drop it down to say 15. You can easily drop this down to like 1, and that's going to slow that whole thing down. And once again, you get into full, you go to full, and that changes the whole effect of the image. And so if we buffer this up, you're going to start to see how this plays out. And so it's not as grainy as you think it's going to be. And so then you want to go back. You either want to noise it up. I might go back to the 25. Let me do that. you know, and here we've got this really, really interesting kind of look, and it clears up, it goes into focus, out of focus, and we get this really wild, I would probably, honestly, I would probably do away with the wiggle on the focus and just leave it somewhat blurry and allow the noise to fluctuate a little bit more. You can also static the noise, increase it, decrease it, whatever works for you. You can crank it way up, and it's really just a creative decision at that point. But I mean, as far as how you can do this, those are some easy ways to use expressions to accomplish the task. So let's go to 30. You know, get the high end percentage noise. And then the focus, I think the focus is another one. I probably would lose the fast blur. I would lose the expression on the fast blur and just kind of set it. Go to about a 10. Let's see what it does. Yeah, you can see the lines from the vignette blinds. You know, you can definitely get those lines in there. And what's cool is if you put this wave warp, you wouldn't want the lines affected by the wave warp, or the vignette, or the Venetian blinds you wouldn't want affected by it. But the question would be, do you want the noise affected by the wave? But I think you could crank up the wave warp a little bit more to add to the creep factor of this. But there you go. You wanted to add some color to it, you could add some color to it. I hope you guys found this video useful, and if you did, definitely do a solid, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for more notifications. We've got more stuff coming up on In Plain Sight. We've got more stuff coming up for After Effects techniques. I hope you enjoyed the kind of tips on a couple of the expressions that I like to use a lot that really work and make my job a lot easier. Hopefully they'll make your job easier as you move forward. So until next time, we'll see you next time. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Paul_SHP at Twitter. You can hit us up on our Facebook page at Secondhand Production Films Facebook page. You can hit us up on our In Plain Sight Facebook page. It's In Plain Sight Short Film. And I hope you guys like it. Check you later. Peace.